Hello, my name is Crystal and this is my first video in this little mini series, and I will be talking about Between Shades of Grey. I really enjoyed reading this book. This was actually my favorite book in this little module. And I guess what I really want to talk about is Lena's otherness and how that is actually different depending on the context. When she's first arrested and she's walking through the street, she's othered because of politics. Her father helped other people escape, and she can see people looking out their windows but not wanting to do anything to help them. And I think that she doesn't really understand what's going on, and that actually makes it a little bit more difficult for her to be able to navigate this space that's completely dominated by Soviet soldiers. Another thing that others her is actually her female body. When they stop and allow them to take showers, a soldier actually physically assaults her and she has to stand there and take it. And then later when they get to the farm, the man that was injured, he asks her if they've actually assaulted them, her and her mother. And so them being surrounded by male bodies completely others them, even though there are other females there. But we can see with some of them, they're not able to escape that physical assault. So their being female others them in that space because it's completely male dominated. And even the other prisoners have no way to really help them. And then I guess I really want to talk about her art. We ended up talking about this in the workshop when we got together in my group. It was three of us, myself, Kelly, and Jennifer, and we talked about art a lot. And I think Lena's art actually really does other her. Later, or towards the end of the novel, when the doctor comes and starts giving them medical attention, he actually brings up another artist, a musician. He says, "I've been to a lot of prisons and camps, none as remote as this, but there are hundreds of thousands of people. I heard a famous accordion player had been shot, only to meet him a couple months later in a prison." So even for this character, this musician, his art others him from the people around him, soldiers and other prisoners alike, kind of almost saves him from death in a way. And I think art actually functions in the same way for Lena. She uses her art to communicate to her father, to establish her identity, actually to create a map using art. When, when she first sees her father at the train station, he tells her, "You can help me find you. I'll know it's you, just like you know Munch, but you must be very careful." And so she actually starts to create a breadcrumb equivalent of art for her father. And later in the text, she draws a picture of her grandmother and writes, "Love from Grandma Altai," underneath her signature. And by specifically nailing down her location, she is mapping out her journey for herself, for the people she's with, but specifically for her father, for, you know, the potential to escape. When Lena is first learning about art, learning about other artists, specifically in Munch, she sees his painting, and I think this is very interesting. The flashback says, "As I walked by the piece, my feet stopped. The face, it was enchanting, like nothing I had ever seen. It was a charcoal portrait of a young man. The corners of his lips turned up, yet despite his smile, the pain on his face made my eyes well with tears. The subtleties within his hair blended so softly, yet created strong variation. I stepped closer to inspect. Flawless. How did he achieve such sheer shade without so much as a pause or fingerprint? Who was the artist, and who was the young man?" I looked at the signature, Munch. And I think Munch, his ability to incorporate pain and other emotion into his paintings actually inspire Lena to do the same. And she does this several times. She draws Andreas's mother after she's been beaten. She has captured various people around her during the times that they're starving, that they've been injured, just the absolute hopelessness. And when she gives all her art to Andreas, she says, "Hide them. Keep them safe from me. I don't know where we're going. I don't want them to be destroyed. There's so much of me, of all of us, in these drawings. Can you find a safe place for them?" And this shows that Lena actually is taking the entire Lithuanian people and othering them from the other prisoners like the Estonians and Latvians. But as well, she's othering them from the Soviet Union itself. She's creating a national identity with her art. And then I think this helps her to tell her story, to tell the history. This book almost operates as an oral tradition. She's telling this story of suffering that is actually taking place, like is affecting millions of people. And even though they can't talk about it, even in the end, in 1995 during the epilogue, they still cannot talk about it. But her art speaks for her. It others them, but it also identifies them. It unifies them. And I think that that is one of the most important things that her art does for her, is that it unites her to the people from her country and her family and friends. And I think that that's really the most important thing, because it helps her get through the most difficult times. When her mother dies, when everyone thinks they're going to die, when her brother's sick, her art helps her get through it. And that's it. That's all I was going to talk about, and I hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to do the next video.